It's final table time, Jesse. How excited are you?
I mean, obviously, I'm very excited. Not only do we have all the drama of a €1 million guaranteed prize pool to pay out here on this final, but what a lineup we've got. Headlined, I think, by Natalia Breviglieri, who is not the chip leader here, but she ain't far off, is she? These chips are well balanced. A bunch of superstars here, Fenton, that we've been watching for the last 2 days.
And I see your friend, the Omaha Limit High champion, Eddie Sharf.
The greatest
The greatest Omaha High limit player there is, and that's our table talk. And I have some great news, Jesse. I'm getting information that we're going to have a guest joining us soon, a superstar of poker, a well-established international superstar. That's the messages I'm getting.
It's so fantastic.
I hope it's true.
Because, to have someone in here who actually knows something about
well,
the game,
this obviously, I mean, this is the whole thing.
You and I make no claims for that. So,
and the news is just in, and it's confirmed. We have Ludovic Gajlik, a.k.a. Ludo, is in the house. Ludo, how are you? And thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we're watching the final table. Obviously, Ludo, you played this tournament. Is it too sore to talk about?
I played it
4
4 times.
times? Wow. Yeah.
And you know what? And he would have played it 4 more times, but he ran out of time. I mean, there was he had an overlay every time he sat down for every
So,
final.
next payout is €10,000, but all them players are looking at the top spots. 200,000 first place, 120,000 second, and 80,000 third place.
It's so funny looking at this. It looks like someone's just shuffled this guy into seat 9.
It does look quite unusual.
Hey guys, it's like when they say, we only play 8-handed, then the guy whoever wants to play goes, well, we'll make it 9
We'll make
for you.
it
Oh,
nine.
geez,
Come
there's
on.
plenty of room here. What do we say? Move over.
Yeah. Let this guy in. Let this guy in.
Yeah. No, we'll make it 9.
Back in the
Right,
day, we
here
went
we go.
13-handed back in the day.
Right, we've
And
got
it's all in, and
fireworks.
it's a snap, and it's a straight race.
And we've got a queen folded straight away, which is not good
So
for the ace
that's
queen.
and an
We've got
ace,
an
and an
folded.
ace. So the jacks are in real good shape so far.
Yep. This is going to go snap call from the jacks.
And it is a snap call.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
snap.
100%,
I'm
has
saying
to
like
be.
he's never going to fold.
Oh, look at this. And this is, I'm going to play this ace king. Now what does the jacks do?
Now
Is
the
there a
Jacks
case
ha-
for folding,
Well, he has
or
to-
is it
he has to-
more incentive to get into this pot?
I'm saying like it's a tight spot, but with having 17 million chips, I think.
And the biggest
think-
stack is the 5 million.
I think he has to make the call here because I'm saying like he's got 17 million chips. There is a small side pot for 2.4 million, which gets him back half the chips, minus the 700, which is potential loss can only be 1.7 million against the initial.
Is he going to work this out?
I think he's going to call. I think he's going to work it out and call. It's so much easier when you've got 17 million chips.
Yes.
I think he's going to call for sure. I think if he folds here, it might sound or it might be easy for me to say it's a mistake. But I think it is a big mistake if he folds.
And it looks like a real stressful situation here for Kenya.
If the stacks were the other way around, he has a better chance of folding. Not that there's a lot of there's not that much of a difference. I'm saying 1.2, 2.4 side pot. He's already invested 700.
Yeah.
So 3.1.
Yeah.
So, and then the most he can lose is 4.9. I'm saying the math in this spot dictates the call.
It does, but by the way, he does have a little bit of extra information. I mean, if you were watching Pitzanti and it was so obvious that Pitzanti was like, oh, I'm folding. And then he looked at his hand. I mean, his eyes went like this and he pushed the chips in right away.
It looks like aces or kings,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
Now,
I don't
it
think-
could be ace-king, but I mean,
I'm
it's a
the
big
other way
hand.
around.
Yeah.
I'm the other way around. CV looks down as if he's going to fold, and then
Yeah.
he looks at aces.
Yeah.
He's going to sit and he's going to think, okay, and then he's going to put
Are
them
they?
in.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So you
Whereas
might be right,
if
but
you've
there
got
was a
ace
lot of
king-
information there.
When you've got ace king, you look, and then you snap, put it in
Yeah.
to make it look like you've got aces
Right.
or kings.
So you're saying he actually really should figure this out. Then.
And that's a call. And he's going to be happy enough to see the
He's gonna be
situation.
delighted. Oh, he's gonna actually punch his fist in the air. I
And
predict.
we've seen an ace and a queen folded already.
Yeah, the jack, and we've not seen a jack
So
folded.
there's only one ace out there.
And we've not seen a
And
jack folded.
this is it. And
So the
this is
jacks
a
are
huge pot. We could see
97%,
two.
which means he comes in third
I
nearly
think,
every
I
time.
think the guy with the jacks has clicked all the correct buttons. I think he's going to win the pot.
Third place. Fremont hitting the queen and backdoor hearts.
There's still 2 jacks in there.
And there's possible straight draw.
Oh, there's 4 threes as well. This is entertainment.
The jacks are now 5%.
Oh,
And now
the
the
king!
king and Pizzanti.
Could only be.
Oh,
Go on, my paisano! Go on, my paisano!
And if I'm sitting at that table, I'm delighted that it's Pizzanti who's won that pot, to be honest.
and the thing is, everyone survives.
Yeah.
Everyone
Does survive, yeah.
They're
good
still
point.
nine-handed.
Look at that emotion there. Is
But
this a good
Fremont
guy or
now,
what?
he's going to win the side pot against Kenya, but he's going to be very short. And we are now 8-handed prize pool. There's €200,000 up top.
We are, and what a great double up there for Akes, for Mrakes, in the sense that he's now actually got some chips to play with, and Cooch is probably just in a touch of pressure. It's the K-Hay kid,
And Mr. Rakes is playing 3 million a couple of minutes ago, and now he's going to get into like a 17, 18 million pot, it looks like.
Well, the 3-bet is fairly. There's some good arguments for it here. K-Hay raising right in late position, and certainly doesn't have to have 2 nines is fairly top of his range. And I think this is a
huge
very
shove.
he's going to get
Huge.
snapped off, but I like it. I like the thought here.
And this guy is very deliberate. Seat number 1, Kaya. He's made 0 mistakes so far, and he's facing a tough decision here because it's a huge bet. It's 8.5 million.
Well, I mean, it is. I don't exactly know how you think about this, Fitton, but one thing he can think about is that his hand is a lot better than the other players would think. He's been one of the active guys. He's raised here in late position.
And he goes for it. He goes for it, Jesse. And it's a straight race. And what is incredible is Mr. Rakes now is playing an almost 20 million pot. And he was down to 3.5 million just a couple of hands ago.
He could be chip leader after this if he hits the king or queen.
And he does need to hit because the pair of 9s is belonging to Kaya, who has him out chipped. And we're going to see a flop and a king in the window. And the kings come good, Jesse.
Bash
and 2
smang.
9s.
I mean, bash smang.
And it was a huge overbet. And Mr. Rakes is going to double up again unless he hits a 9 and it doesn't come. And the king queen. And I feel for Kaya, that was a huge pot.
Right, that's how it goes, by the way. I mean, Kaya, who it was Ludo was saying, and I agree with him. I think you do. This was the player of the final table so far for me, as far as, just the way he bobbed and weaved. But look, here it is. Mr. Akes from 0 to hero. He's chip leader. I think he's
up to about 18 million
oh
according to my
Lord.
mathematics.
Yeah.
And it's some turnaround in just a few short minutes. But because we had no bust outs for the last few levels, they were going to see some serious fireworks now, because look at the blinds for, there's 4 or 5 players under 20 bigs. And the short stack Silverer, who I still fancy to go deep in this if he can get some kind of run. But he's really short now with 8 big blinds. And look at Mr. Akes, 18 million flat, 45 big blinds for chip leader.
Yeah.
And life must be good. And that's the scoreboard. Silver now is on the small blind. He's only 6 blinds left. But I tell you one thing, he's given us a good lesson on how to play his short stack, Jesse. He's really taking his time here. He's not putting chips in likely. But seat 1 there, Kay is also short. And under the gun will be Gosk, who we haven't seen much of because we haven't seen his whole cards. But he's one of the top chip stacks now, 17 million. And the action is around to Natalia, the UK party poker ambassador. We can't see her whole cards here, but she will give us a look because this girl.
She's off of 30 bigs.
It's pocket twos. It's just a couple of options here. Folding is one option, but not for Natalia. She is a super aggressive player, and that's part of her game. She does take these high-risk moves, and unfortunately, this occasion, she's run into a bigger pocket pair, and it's our Dutch friend, Pitzanti, on the button with the nines. And Natalia is going to get away from this. She has a pair, she's open, but Pitzanti now is going to 3-bet her. And he does, he makes it 2.5 million. And look at Silver. This is a spot. He has to take this spot. Ace Queen, Jesse. He has to take it, in my opinion. He's only paying 3 big blinds, and he's getting 4. He can quadruple his stack here, and he has a decent hand. And if he moves all in, there's a chance that Natalia gets out of the way, and Pitzanti, he's heads up against Pitzanti, and he's being a two-way pot with a chance to quadruple his stack.
Yeah, look, if he had 20 big blinds, he could, or maybe even 15 big blinds, I think he could really think about perhaps folding. But come on, he's got like 5.5. I think the time for decision making, unfortunately, is probably over for him. But he's probably thinking to himself that Pitzanti's not light. Natalie was unlikely to be too light here.
And he has to move in here. There's no other choice. He moves all in. There's Natalia's going to fold her pocket twos. And the pocket nines is going to show down. And it's going to be a straight race now between the short stack Silver, who I really feel for. He didn't get any go at all in this table. And we've watched him now for a while, and he didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. He's a class act, and unfortunately...
I got news for you. This Pitzanti has got destiny on his side. It just seems that right now, doesn't it? It's whatever he does lately has turned into gold, and little smile from Silver is going to take 8th place.
8th place, 15,000 cash, all cash payout here, Jesse.
Look, he made a good showing for himself.
And we're going to see more of this guy in the future. He really... played a good game. Unfortunately, he didn't get any cards whatsoever. He was short, and in the end, he moves in with Ace Queen, quite reasonable. Kings for Mr. Aches, and it's Natalia now who's under the gun, and she's going to have a serious problem here if she opens, because she's going to get big resistance here.
And we're seven-handed.
We're seven-handed, but you know what? I know this girl, okay, right? She realises that these guys are they're just going up the money jumps, Ludo. Okay? It's a standard open, and she's going to play this aggressive. She is not afraid, this girl, and it's one of the attributes of successful winning hold'em players is aggression, Ludo, as you know.
No, it's a fairly standard open.
And
this is a bit of a disaster, but obviously she's drawn into kings.
Yeah, it's the worst possible. Okay. Well, this is big problems here down the road. Now, what about the big blind? He's obviously going to peel here with the ace-9 suited, but he's pretty short also.
The big blind has to be worried.
Oh, he's moved in. He's moved in ace-9. And this is actually pretty good for Natalia because she can fold here. But no, she's going for it. And this is incredible what's just after happening. Natalia went to take a spin with the big blind, but because there was a player, Mr. Ace, he completely hid the value of his hand by just flat calling.
It's a bit of a disaster spot for Natalia because once the big blind goes all in for like 10, 11 and a half bigs or whatever, she's actually getting a reasonable price to rejam and try and get it heads up.
And she would have expected to do that.
The only problem is, like, ace-9 suited is actually a bad jam here, which does end up being in great shape up against King Jack suited.
Absolutely,
but the problem is the overcallers.
The Kings was played really smartly. Now, what's going to happen here is, I believe Kenya is going to go out first because he is a smaller stack. Because we're looking at two players being bussed here, and Natalia then is going to pop up the money. It's quite remarkable to me that Pitzanti is in there with 35 big blinds. Sandro Pitzanti from Holland.
The big man at the top's got a lot of chips.
And the chip leader is Mr. Aches, who's a monster stack. And Eddie is still there. He's the short stack now, Eddie.
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle. Eddie Scharf, the PLO.
Eddie
the Limit Omaha High bracelet winner.
Limit Omaha High specialist?
Yes, twice in a row. And it's a game I've never played. And believe me, I'm no rookie. I've been around the block. But it's one discipline I've never played.
It's a tough
Omaha
game to play.
limit high.
There's no way of getting people off the blockers.
Ah, yeah. And it's Ludo with me. If anyone has just tuned in.
I mean, if there's a more fun game, it's very hard to make a mistake. The only mistake you can ever make sometimes is fold.
Yeah, that's the only mistake. The mistake is
As a
folding.
drinking game, it is one of the
Yeah, definitely.
And we have Kook here in the small blind with the jacks. And it looks like a raise to $1 million.
I like it. 2.5x.
Yeah, and this guy Pitzanti is capable of anything here, Ludo. And he does peel a flop.
Standard, super standard.
And it's 2.2 million out there. And it's the battle of the blinds. And that's a great flop for the ace-6 of Pitzanti.
I think if it was like ace-8, ace-9, I think you can jam this pre-flop. Ace-6 is fine to call. Still, against certain opponents, it's fine to jam. But overall, everything's super standard so far.
And Kook is playing a shortish stack here. There's 2.2 out there. He's only playing 6 million, and he's going to bet over $1 million here, it looks like. And I just want to see a flat call here, Ludo,
With the
from
jack,
Pitzanti.
with the jack of diamonds in his hand, I don't know if he needs to bet as much as $1 million.
It's a
Oh, he's
1.2.
1.2 million. He
Yeah, it's a
definitely
big, it's a
doesn't
big
need
bet.
to bet that
So
much.
he's really committed here, isn't he? Well, he's 4.7 behind. There's 4. Now this is going to tell us a story. It's always a check here. He's got called, and he's going to have to shut down here, doesn't he?
But he might be thinking to himself, the guy didn't show any aggression pre-flop. He might not have an ace. I'm worried about letting him see a free card when there's 2 draws out there now. Maybe he has 7x of clubs. Maybe he has whatever of diamonds. Even though he's got the jack of diamonds, he might just decide to shove here or something. Like, it doesn't make much sense, but maybe think he might get called off by a worse hand.
And I think you're spot on, Ludo. You've called it. It looks like he's going to put his chips in. He's moved all in. He's going to get called here. Pitzanti don't fold
I'm
too
saying
easy.
he's not going to be too happy about the ace-6 call, but
Yeah,
it's
but
going
he
to be an
does-
easy call.
yeah,
I'm saying
he
it's
calls.
kind of like shrug your shoulders.
Yeah,
call.
I'm paying
Yeah.
you here. If you have it, you have
You've
it.
got it. You've got it. Yeah.
And it's quite remarkable that Pitzanti now is going to be the chip leader, and it's going to be 4-way.
I don't think he's going to be chip
He'll
leader.
be very close, I think, very close. Actually, you're spot on. You're right. It's Mr. Akes is the chip leader,
Yeah.
and Jesse is going to get some shock when he comes back from the restaurant because we had a full table a few minutes ago.
And everyone's gone.
It's unbelievable.
There's been some coolers.
It's just unreal that we are now 4-handed. We were 9-handed like 20 minutes ago. That's the scoreboard.
I'm looking now at the chip stacks. I don't know how he's folded pocket threes. He's got nothing to lose. It's been open from the button. He's got to shove the small blind.
And even if he does get called by a monster hand like Ace King, Ace Queen, he's still
It's a
ahead.
flip. It's a flip, yeah.
Still ahead, and the
And
chances
there's
are
a good chance he does
that
get
he-
called off at ace
Yeah,
8 because ace
yeah.
8's a reasonable call there. It's right on the borderline. I'm saying, like, if he folds, fine. If he calls, fine. I'm saying, like, off we go.
it's a
to the
missed
races.
opportunity certainly for Eddie.
Yeah.
And maybe it is the money jumps now, but on this occasion
But
he's picked up the
folded
jacks here on the
threes
buttons,
and he's got the jacks.
and it's worked out for him, and he's raised on the button.
But he needs to get some action first.
And it's folded around by Gosk, and now the
He's
chip leader, Jack
definitely
9,
gonna
is
get some
certainly going to
action.
peel a flop here.
Yeah.
And he's flat called. And Jack 9 of hearts,
This is when we need the 9 high flop.
9 high flop would be a really good outcome for Eddie.
Well, that's
And that's an
reasonable.
up and down straight. And you're going to see more chips put in this pot. Backdoor spades for Eddie. And
Eddie
Eddie
can-
continues. And probably Mr. Akes probably puts them all in here. And that's what he does. And that's pretty reasonable, I think, Ludo, given...
With pocket jacks, with the jack of spades, I like the check back, to be honest. If he bets, he has to call it off, which he has done. Was so well played. But I don't know, like, he can still get value off a 7 or a 10. When he does bet, obviously, like, he has to call it off, which he has done, which is worked out well.
2 cards. That's a great card, the 10. And he has to dodge a 8 or a king, and that's unfortunate
Yeah,
for
just
Eddie.
unlucky. He's played the hand
It
perfect.
really is.
He's bet the flop, called it off, been up against the draw. Problem is with betting and then calling off with the jacks with a spade.
And the queen out
he
there.
blocks some of the straight draws. He blocks some of the flush draws.
Yeah.
So when he gets jammed on, what's he really getting jammed off of?
Absolutely.
So he's up against a queen or a draw a lot of the time, but he's blocking a lot of the draws. So like, I'm not absolutely in love with the bet, but he ended up getting it in super good.
And we are down to 3, and I'm absolutely astounded at the action. It's been fast and furious. Pitzanti, 10 deuce, folds the button on the small blind.
It's like being dealt
Gosk.
8 cards and they're just playing 2.
And Gosk is going to make a move here with an ace. He has to, and he goes all in. It's the only move.
I don't know. I honestly
King nine, is this a call?
don't know.
Is this a call, Jesse?
No, I don't think. I mean, I don't think Mrakes has to call ever. I think he just wants to be the one moving in first. And to be honest, I'm not sure that this is you might disagree. I'm not sure that this is an automatic play from Gosk either. Maybe it is. I actually think this might actually be a bad call if Mrakes makes it. He wants to make them call him.
And he's going to call.
I'm not sure. I think it's a great call, really. What do you guys think?
And it's ace 5 versus king 9.
I think Mrakes might have. I think this might be actually a disastrous play by Mrakes. Now, look, a tournament over if he wins this. But if Gosk doubles up, hello, we're back in action.
That's a 9 for Rakes, who's
who
gone into the lead here.
Right, and the happiest guy right now is Pitzanti.
Pitzanti is
absolutely
40,000.
My paisano.
And the 8 and an ace only can help the all-in player Gosk, who's moved in with ace 5 and he's got called by Mr. Rakes. He hits the 5 is no good, and we're going to see third place finisher.
And look at these two guys. They are smiling.
Well, in particular is our Dutch player.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have predicted 2 tables ago that this guy would be here heads up?
I have loved his spirit at this final table. You know, from the moment when he hit that river card with the ace king and started jumping around. There's the trophy.
And a beautiful trophy it is. It's the Party Poker Million Germany. €1,000,000 in the prize pool. And the payout for the winner here is going to be 200,000, Jesse. And second place, €120,000. Now, I understand the information we got back was the discussions to do a deal have broken down again, and that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't. You know, there used to be some famous poker players. They would say, "Yeah, you want to do a deal? Here's the deal. Let's play for everything." And I think that would be first place gets it all.
Forget about second place.
Right. That would be Mr. Rake's view right now.
300,000.
There's really no numbers to talk about, and also if you're Pizzano, because okay, he's what is he 6-7 to 1 out chipped, but all he needs to do. Well, he doubles through twice, and he's level in chips, essentially. So how often does that happen?
The offer,
25% of the time.
I mean,
he's got, you know, he will never get a deal from Mr. Ace.
Yeah, he's not going to get a deal that's going to be attractive. Yeah,
so
because he's really out chipped here, and he has to go for it. And as you say, Jesse, I mean, the tournament scene has got so very serious over the last 5 or 10 years, where, you know, players, the money is big and it means a lot to players. But you see, when players get bust and they might make a smart comment or they don't shake hands, and this is just, it's completely different. Everyone's high-fiving each other, and
there is a great spirit here, not just in this tournament, but in this poker room.
Well, there's no hiding heads up. You have to play. You're forced to play every hand, and it's almost reasonable to play every hand, no matter what your holding is. But I tell you one thing, you need to be good at maths playing heads up, because you need to put an exact value on your hand. And Pizzanti's going to value this hand quite highly, because he's going to raise here on the button. It's Queen 10 of diamonds, and we're going to see action. This could be an all-in, and it is. He's gone in, Pizzanti with the Queen 10 and Rakes with the 8s.
Both players will actually be quite happy here. Mrakes, because all he has to do is hold to win this tournament, and Pizzanti, he's got a race to double up and be right in the thick of it.
It's a 26 million pot, and it's not a great flop for the diamonds.
by not a great flop, do you mean all over?
It is
3%. He needs a club to chop
for
now.
a chop.
Yeah.
He's in dire straits here, Pizzanti. And it doesn't happen, and we have a winner. Mr. Rakes, he comes out on top. And look at the runner-up. I've never seen a happier runner-up, to be honest.
He's been great. When you think back on this final table, and you remember he was all in there with those 2A. He was very short, I think, when we came back from that break and they were still 9-handed. And since that moment, he has been unstoppable.